Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Maku.
It's Kobayashi.
Today's going to be a special episode. Today is going to be episodes 8 and 9 for Mob Psycho. Go ahead and pop it off for us, Kobayashi.
Yeah, so for episode 8, to pick things up from
the previous episode, it was basically the recap of how they ended up getting stuck in the woods because of the van or whatever.
Yeah, so they get stuck in the woods, and then Mob and the other member of the club wanted to go to the bathroom, so they went walking towards a good area to pee or whatever. And then the other group with Reagan, they noticed they're taking forever, so they went to try to find them, and then they ended up getting lost too. But the funny part, they bumped into each other and they're like, oh wow, all right. And then they were trying to see should we go back to the car or should we just find the trail, because they ended up finding the trail. So they decided, let's just keep going to the trail, we might as well make this trip worth it.
The president, she was I guess she was annoyed. She said, no, let's just go back. And then she started pouting, and
yeah, she was really emotional this episode.
So she started pouting, and then Mob ended up trying to cheer her up so she can go to the destination, right? And long story short, they ended up getting to their destination. It was just this really big mountain with with a plateau on it.
To be fair, I respect them for actually hiking up the mountain, and especially Mob too, because Mob has very bad stamina, but he made it up there. And then the telepath, he started doing the ritual because another member forgot the book for the ritual, but the telepath guy,
he memorized it,
and that was the reason why he was late, because he was staying up all night.
And then that's where we get another scene where the president is also emotional because now that he remembers it, now he started doing crop circles on the floor or whatever, and then now everyone in the group was just chanting together the chant that you'll be able to see.
But then the telepath reveals, oh sorry guys, this has just been a fraud. The guy who actually wrote the book got arrested 2 years ago for fraud. So I've been making you guys do this for no reason. But the
premise of it was really interesting because what ended up happening is that Mob said, no, let's try it one more time. And the funny thing is that he actually was emitting his psychic ability out, and I guess the telepath was also emitting his ability, so now it amplified his psyche. So then the president ended up saying, oh, thank you guys, but we can leave now.
And then it just my bad for cutting you off.
No, it's alright. I mean, the next thing you know, you just see this green moon just appear in the background. It wasn't a moon, it just ended up being a light, and there was these humanoids that ended up popping up there. Funnily enough, there were actually aliens there, and that was the whole premise of it, and well, they were successful at it, right?
Mm-hmm. To be fair, this episode was very wholesome. They shake hands, but Reagan was really
he was very skeptical. He didn't want to shake hands. He said, no, wait, what if they have germs we don't even know about?
Yeah, but Reagan, Reagan's just being rational.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a kid, you don't really think about that. You just want to meet the aliens. So she tried to shake the hand, and the alien actually approached her, and he actually shook her hand.
Mm-hmm. And then they went up into their spaceship, and then they're like, wow, this reminds me of the club, because basically they're just eating junk food and playing games.
Yeah. I mean, like Kobayashi was saying, there wasn't too much towards the back end of the episode, almost, because towards the end of it, there's actually a really funny scene, but towards this entire segment where they're just in their spaceship, they're just they're messing around.
They're playing card games. They're playing video games.
Video games, card games. Reagan's just chilling on the sofa, just a very wholesome scene right there.
Yeah, and then they realized oh, it's kind of late. We gotta head home. And then they start exchanging gifts.
One of the aliens end up giving him this this gemstone that looks very like valuable, and they gave him what they could, right?
Yeah, the kids just gave them what they had on them.
Yeah, so I believe one of them was a scarf. I believe that was the president.
The president gave the scarf. The telepath gave a watch. One of them gave them a video game console, and then a notebook. And then Mob, he's like, oh, I don't have nothing much. So he just starts...
He's just doing a magic show, essentially.
And
then Reagan,
Reagan starts stripping. And but he ends up giving like his...
pajamas that he had under his clothes.
Yeah. And then they return back home, but there's a twist. This is the part that Mako wanted to explain.
So they end up coming back home, and the president... she didn't pay too much attention to it until towards like the back end of the episode. Then she's like, wait, where's this I forgot this guy's name.
Inukawa.
Yeah. His name. He was like, where is he at? And then it pans to like a mini scene where he just like is there, and he instantly becomes royalty because he's not from there, right? And
because to them he's the alien.
Yeah.
To the aliens.
Of course. And then the funny thing is that they were just showing like what they were doing beforehand. So he was at a pop concert, and then he ended up getting roofied essentially.
Yeah, roofied. You see kiss marks all over his body.
Yeah. And
then actually the aliens, they had this like problem going on with this monster.
Yeah, it was a very dangerous monster.
Yeah, and then Inukawa solved the problem easily.
Yeah, I guess he just stepped on it because that's the last scene we saw. It was the size of a small dog.
Yeah. For her, yeah. They said it was the size of a small dog. He just basically kicked it.
Yeah. And they started treating him like royalty. The queen was there, or the princess, or whatever.
Yeah.
And supposedly the way he got... Because he wanted to go back in the beginning, but he couldn't because he couldn't communicate. But towards like the back end of the episode, he said, I want to go home. Supposedly they felt the emotion of him wanting to go back home, so they took him back home. And... So then that's where supposedly they wiped a little bit, like bits and pieces of his memory for that specific scene right there. So he doesn't remember too much of what happened. He does have a vague idea though.
And yeah, that concludes episode 8. Moving on to episode 9, we get to see a very big news happening around Mob's school. It's Tsubumi, she's moving away.
And I'm not sure if it's a new progress, because if you guys recognize, there's some of them where there's like 100% angry, 100 like this recent one, it was 100% the Chad face. If you guys remember, I forgot which one it was.
It was 100% on a high horse.
Yeah, 100% on a high horse. And this is a new color, so this might be a different one. So there's a new progress meter on this episode.
Yeah, so Mob's really conflicted. He's like, oh, should I ask her out? Because this is like probably the last chance I could ever see her. But the only issue, everyone wants to ask her out because she's like the idol of the school.
Right.
So there's this like long line full of like middle school boys trying to ask her out, and she's politely declining them in a rapid way. I remember they described it as like a workshop factory.
It's not necessarily that they described it either, because the way that, of course, they described it on how it looked like, but the way she rejected him, it was... I remember one specific scene. The guy was like, "Oh wait, why do you want to go out? Why don't you want to go out with me?" He was like, "Really want me to explain that to you? All right. I don't even know you." And then
she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not interested."
Yeah.
She's just being blunt, which is the correct way to deal with those type of situations. But yeah, Mob's really conflicted, so he's asking everyone that he knows around like for advice. So first he goes to the Body Improvement Club. They're just telling him, "Mob, you've been making great progress. Just show off your body." Yeah. And then they gave him like handprints all over his body because they're just like trying to cheer him up. And they leave like massive handprints on him. The next person, actually, they're in the same club right now, the UFO club or the Occult Research Club. He goes up to them, and then the telepath guy from the tennis club, he's like, "You're actually asking them?" And the Mob's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I should be asking them." And then the president was like, kind of offended.
He was like, "What? I can give you advice." And then I guess she just told him get a new haircut.
Like, yeah, get a new hairstyle.
And the telepath, he said, I might ask her out for myself too. So that was no help either. Then pans out to the next scene.
And then Mob bumps into the news reporter girl. And basically she's like telling Mob like, why do you like Subami-chan? Like, do you like her off looks like everyone else? And then that got Mob really thinking like, oh, why do I like her? So then he goes to Reagan and Serizawa at his job. And then oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So they just pretty much told him, well, there has to be something specific you like about her, right? And then he started giving his own example or something like that.
Basically, Reagan was saying, you know, there's a reason you like her. You don't have to. It's hard for you to explain it, but.
And then he had his like the dream again, because in the beginning of the episode he had like this dream of, I believe it was an event that happened beforehand.
Yeah, he was just dreaming about like the past.
Mm-hmm. So he thought about that specific moment again, and he was like, oh, now I remember why. Oh, now I know why I like her. So then he went home.
He went home, and then actually before going home, he bumps into the other Esper, and then basically he's giving him advice saying, oh, for this situation, you know, usually I'm the one who's getting asked out, so I think maybe she'll like gifts or like a letter. And then he even offers him, he's like, oh, we can try buying new clothes or some flowers. And then Mob gives him like, he's like, oh, sorry, I don't have any money for new clothes because, you know,
because of the last time.
Yeah.
the monkey one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, then Mob ends up going home. He talks to his brother, and his brother kind of knows. I don't know if it's actually true, but his brother thinks that Subami likes another boy, I believe.
That's what he said, but we all know that the person she likes is Mom.
I would assume, yeah. But you know, Ritsu, his brother, is just saying, don't be down if she does like reject you in a nice way. That's what he's trying to say, basically. And then Mob actually has the courage to end up calling her, but he doesn't have her cell phone number, so he calls him with the phone number. I mean, with the home phone.
Yeah.
And then he basically's like, oh, you want to meet up at a park? There's something important I really want to tell you. And she said yes. And then the next day comes. Mob's in a really good mood. Surprisingly, he's not nervous. He's actually quite calm. It looks like he's like with full confidence.
Mm-hmm. So that's the one I'm like suspecting. That's what it is. Like 100% confidence, or something along those lines. So that's what I theorized.
Actually, I don't think so, because what happened in the last scene. But yeah, so it's the end of the school. He's walking towards the park. He actually stops by the flower shop that the other Esper was referring him to. He only has 1,000 yen, so he gets like a small, like, I don't say like 3 pieces of flowers. But then he bumps into another Esper that was part of the season 2 battle, and he gives him like a big bouquet of flowers. And Mob was really appreciated. He's like, oh, thank you. And he's walking to the park, and then he stops at a stop sign, and you see a little kid with earbuds playing his video game, just not focused around the situation around him.
That kid's gonna be very important. So there's this. So as Kobayashi was saying, there was that kid, and then there was a cat.
A black cat.
Yeah, a black cat up ahead. And for some reason, this car was going 107 miles per hour, and he ended up almost running over the cat, but Mob stopped him with the psychic ability. And then it was Mob and the kids' turn to walk, because the walk sign was flashing for them to walk. And then another car comes, a big truck actually, your typical truck scene that gets isekai'd. He starts going full speed, and then Mob didn't use the psychic abilities. He just like
saved him himself using his actual body. And we see Mob lying there, blood all over the place, bleeding out. And I was really pissed about this situation because this episode, I really liked this episode. It showed great progress for Mob. It even showed like a little scene of like Mob playing soccer. Like he actually controlled the ball and then passed it to him. He didn't look like he was out of stamina. You see Mob grow in confidence. And just for this episode, for him to get ran over, I was really pissed. I'm like, no, why?
No, I mean, he obviously he's still alive. But like, that's where I get the idea of like him building confidence. And it might be like a new type of idea because he's been smacked around before. There's no way.
No, obviously he's still alive, but I'm saying this. He's not gonna meet up with Subami-chan at the park.
No,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like that event's not gonna happen. Like, if anything, he's gonna go to the hospital because I don't know how. Obviously, he's gonna be alive, of course. But I don't know how he's gonna recover. Is he gonna recover like normal, like a normal human being?
What I think might happen though is that he might lose his memories because they hit him in his head.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
He might lose his memories, and then that's where all the confidence is gone. And I mean, I guess.
Then my prediction off that, he's gonna lose all his memories, but then Subami-chan is gonna help him remember. I don't know. Maybe
it might be along those lines. I highly doubt it though.
I just want to see a happy ending for Mob. I thought he was gonna get one.
No,
and then they freaking run him over. I was so pissed.
I have an idea that seeing Subami is gonna make him remember his the entire segment. But Subami is not gonna realize that Mob was injured until like maybe a few episodes after. That's what I have.
Nah, I'm not calling that.
That's my idea.
But yeah, that's the end of this episode.
Yeah, they're very action-packed for both episodes, to be honest. One of them was more wholesome than the other, but
actually, I find both of them wholesome. Like I said, I like seeing Mob grow in confidence.
It was wholesome until the end. Though. That's why I consider one more wholesome than the other. In any case, guys, if there's any anime you would like us to talk about specific, please let us know. As always, my name is Maku.
Kobayashi.
And thank you.